have to look far. All you gotta do is look around.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, David. I never forget that all of our clout comes from people one by one all over this country that are determined in their hearts not to lose these great freedoms that we have as American citizens. It's great to be with all of you today. The fight for 2012 is a fight for our country, our values, and our freedom. And if NRA has anything to say about it, President Barack Obama won't get a second term. And mark my words, American gun owners are going to have plenty to say about it. Our freedom is at risk in this election like never before. And time after time, election after election, when freedom is at risk, gun owners step up and make a difference. And gun owners will be the difference in 2012. The president and his political advisors, they don't want to hear that. They'll say gun owners, they'll say they left him alone. The president will give another little talk about how he respects the rights of sportsmen and women, while in private, he makes fun of good Americans who, quote, cling to their guns or religion. But in public, the president will remind us he's put off calls from his own party to renew the old Clinton gun ban. He hasn't pushed for new gun control laws. And he'll even say he's looked the other way when Congress passed a couple of minor pro-gun bills by huge majorities. The president will offer the Second Amendment lip service and hit the campaign trail saying he's actually been good for the Second Amendment. But it's a big, fat, stinking lie, just like all the other lies that have come out of this corrupt administration. It's all part of a massive Obama conspiracy to deceive voters and hide his true intentions to destroy the Second Amendment in our country. I've been leading the fight for NRA, for freedom, for 2 decades now. You know I've never backed down in the national spotlight from telling the truth. So I'm going to give it to you straight here this morning. Before the president was even sworn into office, they met and they hatched a conspiracy of public deception to try to guarantee his reelection in 2012. They didn't want to tangle with NRA's 4 million members or with the 30 million people who identify themselves publicly with the NRA or with America's 90 million gun owners. They didn't want to tangle with them in this election. They wanted us to be a non-issue, and they wanted us to be a non-factor. So they made a political calculation to avoid the gun issue during the first term. Their strategy was clear. Don't enable any anti-gun legislation, and when possible, allow these minor bills to pass, and when pressed by someone on the issue of gun control, offer a few platitudes on the issue to hunters and shooters without making any real commitments one way or the other. Hide, shroud, cloak any and all desires, whatever you do, to attack the Second Amendment. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen politicians in the past who've had a sincere change of heart. But Barack Obama is no Paul on the road to Damascus. That was a pure political calculation, a conspiracy aimed at getting reelected in 2012. They saw what happened in the 90s. After shoving that Clinton gun ban down our throats, gun owners had their say at the polls in the next election. Even Bill Clinton had to admit that the NRA and American gun owners were the reasons Democrats lost the House in 1994. They saw what happened again in 2000 when Al Gore ran on a campaign of national gun control. We all remember what happened here in Florida during that election, but gun owners turned out all over the heartland of America and beat Al Gore, even in battleground states like Arkansas, West Virginia, and his home state of Tennessee. A lot of the president's advisors, they were around back then. And Obama himself is no fool. So when he got elected, they concocted a scheme to stay away from the gun issue, lull gun owners to sleep, and play us for fools in 2012. Well, gun owners are not fools, and we are not fooled. We see the president's strategy crystal clear. Get reelected, and with no more elections to worry about, get busy dismantling and destroying our firearms freedom. Erase the Second Amendment from the Bill of Rights and exorcise it from the U.S. Constitution. That's their agenda. If anyone doubts that, think. Use your common sense. They're already setting the stage for gutting the Second Amendment right now, quietly and behind the scenes. The president's already appointed 2 justices to the U.S. Supreme Court. When given the chance, Obama jumped to put Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan on the bench. They are 2 of the most rabidly anti-Second Amendment justices in history. So bad that they had to lie to the Senate in order to get confirmed. That's right, they lied to the Senate. During their confirmation hearings, both were questioned about the court's recent ruling that the Second Amendment is a fundamental right. It's a fundamental individual right of all law-abiding Americans. Rather than admit their true beliefs and intentions, Sotomayor and Kagan both dodged the question with the same coded, scripted phrase. They called the issue, quote, settled law. Now, you know what that means to American citizens. It means it's settled. Second Amendment's an individual right. That's what they told Americans all over this country. But after getting on the bench, Sotomayor wasted no time in signing on to a freedom-threatening opinion declaring, quote, I can find nothing in the Second Amendment that could warrant characterizing it as fundamental. If Obama wins re-election, he will likely appoint 1 and probably 3 more Supreme Court justices. A second Obama term will mark the end of the Second Amendment as we know it. That is a fact. Another fact is Operation Fast and Furious. But we were never supposed to find out about it. It was supposed to all go on in secret. They wanted to create the appearances that straw purchasers in the United States were the cause of Mexico's drug cartel violence. So the Justice Department and BATF conspired in secret to allow, encourage, engage in illegal gun smuggling, knowing full well that those thousands and thousands of guns were headed straight for the cartels. They ran a massive campaign out of the Department of Justice, going up into the White House to manipulate public opinion and encourage the media to slander the reputation of honest American gun dealers when they knew the truth all along. They set by our Department of Justice, think about this, set by and let the Washington Post slander the names of honest American people like Bill Carter in Houston, a gun dealer, and ruin their reputation when they knew the truth. They knew they ordered Bill Carter to make those sales, and they sat by and let his life and his reputation be ruined. That's not the kind of thing that's the kind of thing you would expect from some South American dictator, not from our own Attorney General of the United States, and sure not from an American president. And yet, President Obama and Attorney General Eric Holder, they shrug their shoulders and they say, I didn't authorize it, don't ask me. They're stonewalling right now 2 congressional investigations, as if Americans shouldn't care that a massive criminal enterprise appears to have been run right out of our own Justice Department, just to set the stage for a future Obama gun ban. This is the biggest cover-up since Watergate, and it's time to ask the Watergate questions. Who authorized Fast and Furious, and how high up does it go? And my gosh, it's time someone in the American media put a microphone in front of the president and said, when are you going to stop the cover-up and order your Department of Justice to comply with congressional subpoenas so the American public can know the truth? A special prosecutor should be appointed today to get to the bottom of this scandal. Even Valerie Plame got a special prosecutor. All Fast and Furious gets is a presidential cover-up. Every member of Congress who cares about truth and justice should stand up and demand the immediate appointment of a special prosecutor today. Even as the Obama administration launched that secret operation, it was also working behind the scenes at the United Nations. In the shadows, they're working on an international arms trade treaty that could effectively ban or severely restrict civilian ownership of firearms worldwide. I've been around long enough to know that the UN has little regard for our Constitution, and even less for our Second Amendment. But I never thought I'd see the day when an American White House would tolerate a proposal that would literally gut one of our most fundamental freedoms as Americans. So I went to New York a few weeks ago, and I testified before the UN. It was an out-of-body experience, I'll tell you that. I was sitting up there looking out at representatives from Russia and China and Cuba and Libya, and all those other great bastions of freedom. I looked them right in the eye, and I told them about American freedom, and that they had no authority whatsoever to mess with it, no way, no how. But you're not going to hear those words from our president, because they already have a treaty waiting and ready for some anti-gun Senate down the road, working with the UN. That's what they're working on. You're going to see a lot more of it next year. And when he can, the president will go around Congress to impose any restrictions possible on the right to keep and bear arms. His administration is already pushing the limits of executive power, orders. You know that. They're circumventing Congress by mandating backdoor gun registration on lawful firearms purchasers. And we know there are more executive orders ready to go, amounting, if he gets reelected, to what will be a full-scale regulatory war on the gun rights of every lawful American citizen. Sotomayor, Kagan, Fast and Furious, the United Nations, executive orders. Those are the facts we face today. The president and all of his advisors, they hope we'll ignore those facts. He hopes gun owners will follow the liberal media, who deny them. But we know better. We know those facts, and so much more, are the nightmares that we will face in a second Obama White House. President Obama and his cohorts, yeah, they're going to deny their conspiracy to fool gun owners. Some of the liberal media, they're probably already blogging about it. But we don't care, because as far as we're concerned, the lying, conniving Obama crowd can kiss our Constitution. The fight is on for 2012. Anybody who says gun owners won't be a factor has not paid attention to the history of elections in our great country. Every time freedom is at risk, it is fought for and preserved by the work, the wallets, and the will of millions of NRA members and gun owners and patriots. In the face of peril, we always stand up. We deserve a president who truly understands our values and our freedoms, guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, endowed by our Creator, and due to all humankind. Our liberty in this country lives in the Second Amendment, the fundamental right that separates us from all other nations on earth. That freedom makes us better than other countries. That freedom makes us stronger than other countries. If you believe that, and if you're as sick and tired of all the lies and schemes and Obama conspiracies as I am, stand and join us in this great fight. You tell me right now, will you defend freedom with all your heart and might? Come on, let them hear you at the White House. Will we fight to preserve our liberty and keep our nation strong and free? Will we save America and our freedom? Will we save the Second Amendment from a second Obama White House? We will not be denied our destiny, our place in history of preserving American liberty. We will defend our nation because, by God, we must. We will prevail. We will prevail. And we will stand for who we truly are. We are Americans. Thank you very much. And fight for freedom every single day. Thank you.
All you gotta do is look around. This is NRA.